Hi, my name is Medina, and this video will be with completely or almost none at all editing. Maybe just a bit of the colors, maybe some of the audio, but besides that, I really want to just have a little rant. The sole reason is because I want to really stop doom scrolling, and a very good way to do that is to literally take my phone and not let me use it because it is my camera now and I don't have another camera. Maybe when I'll have an actual camera, it will be even harder, but whatever. Today I want to talk about, I think, art, but in not really another way, but just the way that I've been thinking about it, and maybe it would resonate with you as well. I think the easiest thing to do is to just talk about what I know, because all of us are basically just talking about ourselves and making endless monologues, and there's nothing that you know better than yourself, at least in a lot of the cases, but not always. And I think what I've been thinking about a lot lately is about making art that is supposed to be good and trying to, when doing art, grading it from the beginning with whether it is good or not. So, as an example, um, when you do just any kind of drawing, I feel like not always, but we have this urge to make not just a drawing but a good drawing. And I think that when you actually have this standard of having a good drawing and not a drawing with good anatomy, good line, good colors, good dynamics, composition, etc., proportions, when it comes to doing something good, is exactly when you lose most of those things. Even if you have an experience of drawing a lot of these things, all of these subjects, even at a very advanced level, I think when it comes to holding the standard of doing the good thing is when it actually, maybe if not ruins everything, but it does, one, make everything slower, and second, um, make everything less productive as well. Because from my experience, I think that when I actually have this mindset, it is exactly when I procrastinate and not let myself do mistakes anymore, not explore, because each thing is not graded by how much it actually works and whether you want to use it or not, but by actually looking at it as if it defines you as an artist and defines you, your drawing, as a good or bad. So, for example, when it's a storyboard in an animation, before doing the animation itself, you're supposed to do a storyboard, which is basically just all of the shots and scenes with very few images to tell the story as much as you can. And for example, when you look at a lot of super cool Pixar or Disney, I don't know, super cool Goblin portfolios and see what is a real good storyboard, then when you're given a task to storyboard something, instead of thinking of, does the rule of third apply here or not? What is the horizon line? And each time just looking at the emotions of the characters, we start to think about, at least that's what I've been finding in myself as well, is that the question is not about those before mentioned things, but more like, is this Pixar intern worthy storyboard or something? Is this worthy my uh, portfolio? Is this worthy of posting even? Or if there's a supervisor or some kind of professor or somebody who is going to grade it, but before that there is the process where you're just completely by yourself with that piece of art, storyboard, anything, animation, and at that point there is no the good or bad. And I feel like that is what stops or at least holds you from a lot of stuff. And for me especially, I've been having a lot of issue with procrastination, sometimes anxiety, time management, and I feel like it's an issue for all of the people, not just artists nowadays, especially with all of the online presence that we hold. And speaking of procrastination, I think a lot of us have been hearing the term as the flow state, and I think a lot of us, or I don't know, a lot of the Gen Z, or even not Gen Z, but just in general, people or artists have been facing this state where you actually cannot get to the flow state. And when you get it, it is something so rare and valuable that you have to put in a lot of effort and very concrete and exact actions in order to get to that. Although, at least for myself, I could speak that for me, flow state was not something that I needed to acquire or go back to or make a perfect setting to achieve, but more like something that was the base state of drawing. Like, this is something that I always had, and not the opposite, where I'm searching for the flow state, and when I enter it, I feel even scared that I'll drop out of it or something. This is another topic whole on itself, but thing is, that flow state is reached also when you do not have this. Maybe it is kind of at some extent also perfectionism. I'm not really sure. But when this, not really a teacher, but more like this scale of doing something good or not is there, that is when the flow state cannot even enter, I feel like, because you're not really doing the work, but you're outside of it. It's like if the whole grading of whether something is good or not, whether something is, I don't know, posting worthy, showing to a better artist worthy, it is something that's supposed to be happening outside of the drawing process. And yet, what a lot of us do is to start to grade if it's good or not from the beginning, even in the, I don't know, sketching process or the storyboarding, like a very, very raw and, very early stages of the process where everything is supposed to be not good, like you're supposed to be bad in order to maybe be better. I think that happens a lot. And even when I say that maybe it will be good, even at this point, I think most of us will think that no, but I'm different, I will be good or something. But in reality, I think it's a much more healthier mindset when you just accept that I will not be good from just as a base state. I'm not like a good artist or something, like, as in, this either narcissistic or some kind of I don't know, evaluating system, but more like I'm enjoying what I'm doing, that I'm curious, I want to read more books, I want to look at more arts, more museums, more movies, more cartoons, more people, try more flavors at a grocery store of my favorites, I don't know, cookie or something. When you try a lot of different things, that is when you can make your art much, much better, much more colorful in all kind of senses, and sorry if I'm not looking at the camera, it is mostly because the light is killing me. But um, good art does not come from the intent of it being good. I think that even might be the quote of this video or something. And that's what I've been thinking about lately. And the advice that I could give more so to myself, and that you could also take on to yourself too, is that first of all, we need to regulate the amount of internet in our lives, because when you watch a lot of stuff on TikTok, when you doom scroll for hours and hours, then this intent to be the creator instead of the consumer can really fly away because of all the anxiety surrounding it, that maybe I will do a shitty TikTok and who would even watch it, maybe the montage will be very, very bad, or I'll not be able to speak really good. But in reality, it is not what matters the most. Yes, somebody will appreciate how good you did the editing or some cool things in your video if you have a good voice, have a good vocabulary and everything. But are we really grading that, or are we looking at the story? It's the same with animation, arts, anything in general. Are we looking at the soul quality of the lines, or how much life there is that those lines actually bring? How much life there is in the lines, how much life there is in the character that those lines created. And the same with the storyboarding, animation, anything at all. Like, is it about the good clean in-betweens, or really clear, beautiful poses or very detailed places on the shoes of the character, or is it about the spacing and the timing and the good movement that it was created on the screen? Because we are creating movement out of nothing. We're just using images in order to create an illusion of movement, although this thing never like moves in the first place, at least in low FPS animation, I guess. I'm not really sure. But at the core, it is like that. It is an illusion of movement after all. So, going back to the evaluating system of something good or bad, I think it is very important to just let yourself go back to almost like a childish state of being curious about things. I'm not being too serious about things because it's been very present for, I think, at least my generation, that everything that you do is kind of very serious and dependent on everything, like if the actions that you're going to take now are directly connected to your future and consequences and everything, which is true. But when you're creating the art and in the process itself inside of it, this is not the best thing to think about, because you get constantly distracted to be sure that this will land me a good job, this will land me a good portfolio or something. But what is inside that portfolio, the thing that will make your recruiter remember you, is not the moment where you were like, I'm gonna make an amazing portfolio, so you added a shit ton of super cool InDesign template in your presentation or something. What they are going to remember is actually probably the fact that you draw a snail so cool and so funny that one of the directors was looking at it and be like, oh my god, it looks like a, I don't know, Looney Tunes character or something. That is what they're going to remember. It's not about the how good you, I don't know, put everything in the rule of thirds or something. It's not really what they're going to remember. And the same with, I think, in all of the things, like these principles are not really about art. Everything is very simple and yet complicated. Even with people, if you're trying to say something funny, you probably will not be funny. If you're trying to be the most like open and talkative person in the group, or the most like simple guy, if you're really trying and thinking about it, you'll probably just come out as weird, and people will remember you as, oh, this guy was a bit tense, like, I don't know, he was swallowing his words a bit, although like you actually were intending to be liked by those people, to be likable. I don't really know where I exactly stopped, but let's just continue from that point. Another thing that I thought about is how the mistakes are kind of forbidden when you're trying to make something quote unquote good. So, what I imply by that is when you're trying to do something good, it is like if you're supposed to do that immediately without any chance to fail. And it is the pressure to do something good immediately and have the good decision that you're not going to change later. Like if you whip it out immediately without any iterations later. Although obviously, of course, you're supposed to iterate, change, and improve in order to have something actually really good. And that's something that I had a lot, I don't know, for example, in storyboarding and drawing, that instead of trying a lot of different options and seeing which one works better and compose something altogether, not always, but sometimes it really did happen. Instead of that, I would try to immediately start drawing and have the good concept and move from that, although there's actually other possibilities. And then it loops back to the fact that I didn't research as much as I should have. And when I'm doing the more advanced and detailed version, I'm thinking maybe I should have like fundamentally changed something else. Like maybe I should have tried another option, but that was something that I was supposed to do in the beginning. And it is also on trying to make something good that you try to take a shorter path or try to be sure that you'll be told that it is good or something. I'm not really sure if it is that much connected to ego or just the fear of mistakes or perfectionism, but still the answer is still remaining that it is not the most productive way to view it, and a bit more simplicity, curiosity, and fun I think is way more productive and also just ecological to us as humans because we're still not robots. We need to create things with fun in it. And I think in art, that is one of the coolest things that, of course, when you hear that, you do art, that's so cool. Like, you basically are working with, like, your work is literally a hobby or something, or that, you must probably have so much pleasure from the fact that your work is so easy or that it is so fun. Like, it's always like artsy. So it means that it is not hard or something, although it actually comes down to a lot of office work, a lot of organization work, a lot of managing, especially, I don't know, even producing sometimes. So obviously, it's not much better than any other work. However, the good aspect still is there that in case if you're able to remain with that sense of fun and curiosity where you enjoy your art, it can be way easier than if you didn't, because of course, like with most of usual work jobs, I think, when your job is to I don't know, the most unemployed thing that I could say, but um, is to create Excel sheets. I don't think there is as much inspiration is it as when you're doing a storyboard, for example, when you can reference some films and do some super funny shots and then make a funny face and have some Easter eggs or just anything. Although, you know, there are a lot of different works, but in art we have this possibility. It is still there that you can do your job, like what actually makes you have food on your table, and have that thing as something fun and something that you enjoy. Of course, in the reality that we live in, you most of us don't get to choose what would be the project or the people that we work with or the amount of time that we have or resources or opportunities. But at least in the, for example, personal projects, like, no, there are no constraints to have a personal project. And of course somebody would say that, I don't know, I have a day job and then a family and etc, which is completely understandable. But personal project does not have to be huge. Personal project does not certainly have to be a feature film. It doesn't have to be even a short film. It could be even 1 second film. There are festivals that feature 1 second films, literally, or 2 second films. Like, there are the audience, spectators, and fans for almost any kind of art. And in case that's the goal that you're searching for, that you want to connect through your art, so it is really not about the scale or the quality. As long as it is there, you're the person who is doing the art. So why not just give that art opportunity, give that opportunity to have fun in it and know more and be curious and just have more knowledge if you can, because everything is in our hands. So not everything completely, but if you have that in your hands, why not do the best for yourself, basically. So a bit I don't know, if not blunt, but a bit chaotic, I would say this video was. It didn't really have a very exact theme or something, but I just want to practice to make some more YouTube videos and try to improve the way that I speak, the way I behave on the camera, try to look more into the camera or something. I don't know how people even look onto a light source light into their eyes and not get blind or something, but maybe I will get used to it. But either way, I enjoyed, I think, making this video. It is still, I think, better than doom scrolling for another hour or something. And yeah, if you're interested, I also have an art course that I don't know when you'll be able to access, but I have some more stuff that I can offer. I don't know, you could look at my Instagram, you could look at my Notion website, just a lot of stuff. And yeah, just explore art, do stuff, be curious, stay alive and thrive. I don't know, very very inspirational, I know. But I hope that it was fun for you too. Maybe you had a not bad of a break from everything that is happening everywhere and all at once, just to have these thoughts and share them with me as well. And maybe you do draw, I don't know, create or write something as well, or maybe just think about something. Why not? And yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next video.